Hello viewers, and welcome to the Hammond Auto channel. Today we have a Chevy Trailblazer with a 4.2 engine, and we're going to demonstrate how to test the mass airflow sensor. And on this car it's a 5-wire mass airflow sensor because they incorporated the intake air temperature sensor. So we're going to go through the trouble codes and the wiring, and then we're going to test it. Okay, first up, trouble codes. You get the trouble codes anywhere from P0100 to P0104. Those are the trouble codes directly related to this the mass airflow sensor. There could be others related, but we're not going to get into that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the wires and then we're going to test it. So starting from pin A, which is the yellow wire. Let me zoom in here on it for you and back up a little. Okay, this is a yellow wire. That's the reference signal. Most GMs use the yellow wire for reference, the 5-volt reference signal. Okay, the next one up is a black wire. That's the ground for the mass airflow sensor. Then this blue one here, which is a pink wire, that is the 12-volt system voltage for the mass airflow sensor. Then we have another black wire, solid black. There's no stripes on these black wires. They're both black. This one is another ground for the intake air temp sensor. Then we have the green one here, which is a tan wire. That is the sensor ground for the intake air temp sensor. Okay, so now we're going to get to testing it. Alright, first what we're going to do is we're going to test the ground and the power. Make sure those wires are good, and then we're going to test the signal wire to make sure that's throwing a signal. Okay, first up, power wire. Well, actually we should put in the ground wire first. So we're going to use the sensor ground, which is this one here. Let me get it in there. Let's do it this way. Alright. Sensor ground. First, the sensor ground. This is the sensor ground. That's the sensor ground. Then get the thing up here. Alright, that's DC voltage. There we go. Okay, then we put the positive into the blue, which is the pink wire, and we have 12 volts. Okay, that's the power wire. Now we're going to go ground to ground to see if there's any voltage drop on the ground side. So we touch somewhere ground, which is right there, and we have 5.5 millivolts, which is good. You don't want to see anything more than that. Okay, so the power in the ground is good. Now what we want to do is we want to go over and start the car. Now today I forgot to mention that the key was on when I did those tests. So we're going to go over here You can start the car. Alright. Now we're going to test and make sure that we have a signal. Now, here's the voltage for the signal wire. I don't know if you can see it, that's the voltage for the signal wire. So, let's go to the hertz. See if we can get hertz. There's no reading there. No reading there. So, what we do is we get the scope. It's hard to read the signal wire with the multimeter, but with a scope you can pretty much read any signal. Alright, we got that hooked up to the ground. Now we need the power wire. We put that in there. Oh, I forgot to switch this. And there's this. And there's the signal for the signal wire for the mass airflow sensor. Now, if you get anything higher or lower than a 5-volt reference signal, then you know there's something wrong. If you don't get no connection between the power and the ground, you know there's something wrong. And one more test. That's to unplug the sensor. And it should continue to give the 5-volt reference. That means you have the 5-volt reference signal right there. That means that the signal wire between the computer and the connector are good. Plug it back in, and it still stays the same. And that's how you test the mass airflow sensor in a Chevy Trailblazer.